Where are my Roxy fans at? And if you're not a Roxy fan, which animatronic is your favorite? Welcome back, my fellow gamers. It's me, Amanda. Today we are focusing exclusively on Roxy, which I'm sure she'd love, as I know how much she appreciates being in the spotlight. Number 10. Foxy vs. Roxy. When Roxanne was introduced as being one of the main animatronics in Security Breach, people wondered if she was actually there to replace a previous fan favorite. Because of this, initially people seemed to be wary of her and disappointed that Foxy was not present among the band. But she was, having seemingly taken his spot. Some have theorized that Foxy was decommissioned as pirates were no longer as popular as they once were. It has also been speculated that Foxy is being remodeled and will return later on, perhaps in the Security Breach DLC. And then of course some have literally speculated that Foxy's parts were used to make Roxy, and that Roxanne Wolf is a reinvention of everyone's favorite pirate-themed fox. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving what we do here at Top 10 Gaming, please go check out our newest channel, Most Amazing Top 10 Anime. Seriously, hitting that subscribe button really helps us out here, even at this channel. Number 9. Eyes glow red. While Roxy's eyes are typically amber, the same color that Glamrock Freddy's eyes turn after he himself is given Roxy's eyes, they have been known to change color before in the game. Like the other animatronics, there seems to be some kind of implication that there is a virus infecting these animatronics which can override them. And perhaps a sign of this is that their eyes change to red. The fact that sometimes their eyes glow red could be an indicator that they are not completely in control of themselves, that something is either altering their protocols, turning them chaotic, or even controlling them from afar. Likely the person behind this manipulation is Vanny or William Afton. Vanny herself also has red eyes, which is interesting to reflect upon. Perhaps it is indeed Vanny who is pulling the animatronic strings when they too have eyes that seem to glow red. Number 8. Claws. While Montgomery Gator is the one known for his claws in-game, Roxanne Wolf also sports a pretty mean pair of claws. After becoming shattered, her claws only seem more gruesome as well. While some would see these as simply nails, speaking as someone who, I have nails, I would say that these are a lot more intense in comparison. Roxy also has her nails, or claws rather, painted green, which becomes more apparent after she is shattered, when they become more claw-like, to be honest. Number 7. Blind. After losing her eyes, having them taken by Gregory, Roxanne basically becomes straight up blind. At least that's what the game would have you think. While certain tools used to discombobulate the animatronics, such as the Phaser Blaster and Phazcam, no longer work on her and she can't sense you from a distance, getting up close, she still seems to be able to tell kind of where you are. She's not completely blind, as she probably has some kind of radar sight or sensor sight that she can rely on, and that still works at least at close range. After all, the fact that animatronics even use their eyes to see seems very strange in terms of modern technology that we have today. Most robotic creations in the modern world actually rely on GPS and sensors to kind of tell where they are and where they're going, not cameras wired to their motherboard that are basically like ocular parts. It's a little weird. Number 7. Makeup. Something else that Roxy has that I think is very interesting, considering we haven't really seen this used on animatronics in the same way really ever, is makeup. While clown makeup has been used and lipstick has been given to some animatronics in the past, which has actually caused great debates about their genders, this is the first time we've really seen makeup used to glamify animatronics. Both Roxy and Chica wear makeup, or really they're both designed to look like they are wearing makeup. I doubt they put makeup on each night when there's a show and wash it off after to clean their skin. I mean, they don't really have skin. I don't think they'd really need to clean it. But this is the first time glamour-based makeup looks have been part of the designs. I know some people are probably going to be like, what about Ballora? But I still feel like Ballora is a little bit more clownish still than glam. It should be noted that Glamrock Freddy also seemingly is wearing makeup, but instead that it is more akin to face paint glamrock look, similar to that of Spaceman or Starchild of the band Kiss, or David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust. If you don't know who those people are, go check it out. Number 5. Punk rock. One of the coolest things I think about Roxanne is her style. She takes after a certain kind of rock style known as punk rock with her appearance. It's also still a little bit glam rock, but it's also very punk rock. Perhaps this is a reason too that she is more concerned with her overall aesthetic. While punk rockers had a DIY approach to their own management and promotion and were known for upbeat melodies and politically charged lyrics, they were also extremely well known for their style and their look. In fact, in the punk rock music scene, style actually became so important that it actually influenced fans and created a whole subculture just based around the core beliefs of punk rock as put on display and promoted through fashion. Influencing fans on a global scale, piercings, spikes, and more risque or avant-garde clothing were all part of the punk rock style. Often the clothes punk rockers wear are used to push and challenge boundaries while resembling a rejection of the mainstream in terms of their style. Which is also just like an interesting insight potentially into how that could inform who Roxanne is as a character. Number 4. Small panels. Something else that's really interesting to me when it comes to Roxanne's design is that she seems to be covered in small panels. What are these panels for? Why do they exist? What purpose do they serve? Well, the interesting thing is that Roxanne actually isn't alone when it comes to her design of being covered in small panels. Glamrock Freddy and Glamrock Chica, as well as Monty, all have these panels too. Although some of them differ slightly in size and perhaps a little bit in placement as well, which makes their purpose even more curious to me. I would assume these are access panels, but perhaps as each animatronic has their own, unique build, especially when it comes to outer paneling, the size and shape of these panels is a little bit different. It could also be possible that the circuitry within them also differs depending on their physical appearance. What do you think these small panels are used for? Are they just housing? Are they something else? Number 3. Green hairpiece. Something that I found very striking about Roxy's appearance, which all in all is quite colorful, is her dyed hairpiece. Now for the most part, Roxanne's hair is white or silver if you prefer, and sometimes it kind of looks as though there might be a little bit of purple mixed in there, but she also has green, bright green bangs, which match her green keytar. But that isn't all her hair matches, it also matches the color of another brand new animatronic added into this world, Montgomery. And it got me to wondering if perhaps they could be connected in some way, considering that the green of Roxanne's hair seems to almost perfectly match the color of Monty himself. Monty also has a red streak which matches Roxanne's outfit pretty perfectly. Both are also similar in the sense that they're often referred to by shortened versions of their name. Roxanne Wolf is referred to as Roxy and Montgomery Gator is referred to as Monty. Is this because they are both just similar in terms of when they were both introduced in this world, or is it possible that there is something else that they share together and that connects them? Number 2. Gray Wolf. When it comes to what kind of wolf Roxy might actually be modeled after, it's an interesting thing to reflect on. I would say based on her coloring and the patterning on her face, which some seem to think is meant to be whiskers, that she is modeled after a gray wolf, or possibly even somewhat modeled after a gray fox, despite that not being her name and her not really being a fox. But at the same time, there are definitely similarities in her look and Foxy's look, so, we should still keep that in mind. This is because of her coloring and the pattern on her fur, which I think is meant to be a sort of patterned color fur as opposed to drawn on whiskers. Wolves tend to use body language to communicate with one another and use this type of communication to display their place or ranking in the pack's hierarchy. Roxanne's gray coloring as opposed to the original Foxy's red coloring is primarily what made me think that she might be modeled after the gray wolf. Also, she does like to kind of posture a lot, doesn't she? She likes to be like, I'm the best. So maybe this is also her wolf side coming out and she's trying to set herself up as kind of the alpha of the pack. Number 1. Self-esteem. While on the surface, Roxy might seem shallow and self-centered to some, as we get to know her more, we learn that she is likely struggling with her own self-worth, which is the reason she comes across as so shallow. Roxanne Wolf initially is seen in her dressing room giving herself a pep talk, where she continuously refers to herself as the best glam rock. However, when her appearance is tarnished by Gregory's attack, where he steals her eyes, she seems to be shattered in more ways than one, not just physically, but also emotionally, crying uncontrollably as she worries that no one will ever love her again, and repeatedly asking for validation that she is still beautiful. This is a sad thing to see, and reminds us that although Roxy might seem self-obsessed, she is in reality likely very insecure, and it is her insecurity that has led to her focusing so heavily on being the best and most beautiful glam rock, because she desperately seeks approval and validation from others that she cannot find within herself. Truly, Roxy is a complex character. Ugh, should we do Monty next? Are you also a fan of his? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, keep on gaming on. Pew pew!